So I'm down here on Thorndale and Sheridan, and this is very valuable property. There's only a short strip of where all these buildings right here from where you get off at the end of Lakeshore Drive down here through this Roger Park area that are on the lakefront directly. These are the only buildings. The Lakeshore Drive ends. So before that, the only other building is Lake Point Tower that's east of Lakeshore Drive. But all of these buildings are east of Sheridan because there's no more Lakeshore Drive. But the problem is they need to fix Sheridan. And people do take it all the way down from Highland Park to get into the city of Chicago, and they enter on Lakeshore Drive. So I have my friends that live in Highland Park and that, right on the lake. They go directly down Sheridan. They don't go down 94. They take Sheridan Road all the way down until they get onto Lakeshore Drive, and then take Lakeshore Drive the remainder. And here's Loyola University, Chicago. The Ramblers, the Rambling Ramblers. But again, this university, this is their main campus, but their medical center's in Maywood. It's unbelievable cluster F. I mean, you talk about distance apart when you're talking about local campuses. It's not like you have a extension. This is the medical center, which is usually part of the main campus. So what do they need to do? They actually need to open up a medical center here. Surely, they need to open up a medical center in Rogers Park. So they need to buy some land and open up a medical center here. And this would be an offshoot of their center in Maywood Park. So they can do both medical and doctors and physician assistants. Truly. So you have nurses, doctors, and then there's many different levels of nurses. Then there's physician assistants, and then there's physicians, and then there's neurologists and neurosurgeons. So you have doctors, then you have surgeons, and then you have all the different specialists. Truly, you have a neurosurgeon, and then you have a neurologist. That's two separate specialties. Both neurology, but one cuts, and the other does it through alternative, like pharmaceuticals and so on, and injections, but they don't cut. Truly, they do it through other forms of treatment, like they do low intensity, ultrasound and other forms. That's a neurologist. A neurosurgeon is more doing the minimally invasive cutting, or sometimes the reconstructive and all that. That's their job. So still, they're both neurologists, but they have a different track. So they need to open up a medical school here. Truly. And then they can teach midwives. Yep, they can have a midwife program and everything. So there's lots of branches to it. And so they have all their pediatricians. They can open up their pediatric dentistry and their dentistry college right here. So they can figure out, oh, he closed, Will's gone. Huh? So they got to figure out how they're going to make a big expansion within Rogers Park. And so they're going to have to eminent domain. So they're going to have to take property. Now they can work it out where they lease the property, or they can just do a full eminent domain and they're forced to sell the property. But either way, they have to figure out how they're going to expand. And so you don't have anything. Evanston Hospital's way up there. So that's all the way up there. And so you don't have the same. And this was an invention when they were talking about bigger buses. Instead of having two buses, they had one bus and it had the bend so they can make the turn. So they added in this flexible, you can move back and forth right here. And so this allows the bus to make turns. It's kind of like a semi. This is a trailer and this is the cab. But anyways, this was an invention that came out a long time ago. And it was to add more transportation capacity. So they didn't have to add more buses. They just added more capacity per stop. And it works if people are more regimented. Meaning, if the buses know when people have to work in this area. But when do they do a poll, truly? When did they poll the area of what time people go to work in the area? So the buses never do that. They never talk to the community on what time they would need the buses. It's the same with the trains. They do these things independently instead of working with the community and recreational community as well. Truly, when the parks open, like on Saturday and so on. And so they have to work with the recreational community and the business community and the churches and that. So these people go to, and so you have to work with these communities. Unlike here, there's no one working with me but terrorists, tailgating. I'm not speeding. I didn't know this was a fly zone. I thought this was the government's no-fly zone. So they should implement a no-fly zone. And oh yeah, when they implemented the no-fly zone, if you went into the no-fly zone, they would shoot you down and eliminate you or terminate you. Truly. We did it over Iraq, and anyone entered the no-fly zone, they had full permission to eliminate them. And, and they did. Boom. You're no more. So again, it's the same thing. Same kind of program to eliminate threats. So I don't get it. It's a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. This is not the Indianapolis 500. And you say free will, then they're breaking the law. And when you break the public trust by speeding, you're supposed to be penalized, right? I'm not supposed to be penalized. They're supposed to be penalized. So that becomes a mounting injustice every day. As God watches, you allowing more and more injustice being done to me, tormenting me with your demons of traffic, your traffic demons. And now you get to see all of this. And there's nothing here, but now they have a few barges out there. I don't know what they're doing. But again, here, the beautiful area, but again, I don't know what they're going to do to further develop this. And then it moves back into residential. And then it goes right up the lake, and you got private. Right here, you have private beaches. Now, Northwestern has private beaches. And if anyone doesn't know, Northwestern is the largest land grant college in the United States. Land grant. The college was given the land. And it got the biggest chunk of land at that time of any college in the university or college in the United States. They were given the biggest chunk of land. They didn't acquire it. It was granted to them. And so this whole area on the North Shore, these houses are worth a fortune. They're right off the beach. So all these residents right here, and this is down Sheridan Road, this is all lakefront property. So again, and this goes down into Northwestern, and this is wedged between Loyola and Northwestern. And so both of them private institutions that should be working together. Truly, Loyola and Northwestern should be working together. So, again, I don't know why they're not, but they should be. They have vested interests. It's like downtown Chicago. Northwestern University's law school and medical school and all that's right there, right down the street from Gleacher Center, University of Chicago. And so they have a different partner, but they also have Loyola down there. So in that area, you have Northwestern, Loyola, University of Chicago, right there on North Michigan Avenue, say by Ontario and Ohio. They're just a little bit south and north of it. And then Northwestern is east of Loyola. And then it is not east of University of Chicago. It's parallel, but it is north of the University of Chicago on Michigan Avenue. But all three universities have a big interest in that area. And right here, it's Northwestern and Loyola. Downtown, it's Northwestern, Loyola, and University of Chicago. So, what they're going to do with all this should be interesting. And I don't know how many of the professors live in this area. So, if they incentivize them to live in Evanston. But it would make sense so they can be, convenient to the campus and everything. So they spend more time with the university. And so office hours and that, I used to spend a lot of time in my professors' offices. So a good thing is to go hang out in your professors' offices. Not when they're doing office hours, but they're in there when, it's not for schoolwork. And I used to go in there and just have theoretical conversations with all my professors. Truly, I just go in and visit them in their office and sit down and we talk concepts. Well, they're into economics or philosophy or whatever, and you're sitting there and you're talking to them about it. And basically, it was a good exchange. Truly, they enjoyed my company, I enjoyed their company, and we had a good intellectual exchange. Plus, all my professors got to know me really well, and I got to know them really well. So when I went back, even years, decades later, they all knew me. So most people leave institutions and their professors have no idea who they are. Truly, they might see their face for a little bit, interact a little bit, but I spent time in their offices. So all my professors, I spent time in their offices and I got to know them, no matter it was at Oakton or Harper or University of Arizona or University of Chicago. You get to know your professors. So, and that can do you a lot into the future. Taking a picture of the Northwestern signs. So I wonder how many Asians go here. I assume a lot. So Tina graduated from Northwestern. I forgot about that. My friend Tina Chen. She's Taiwanese. So, anyways, here's congratulations, graduates. the N for Northwestern. So we're at Sheridan, Chicago Avenue. Northwestern's on Chicago Avenue. So, again, it's Chicago Connection. So, anyways, I'm wondering how this is working out, because this is more the county, Cook County, and the governor than the cities, because they float between multiple cities. And so it's more of the county and the governor working with the institutions than it is the local mayor. And they have an interest in the local, but the overall institutions are more county board focused and more governor's office focused. So, because they have multiple locations throughout the state and that. So, anyways, a big bike path, and you get this, and I'm wondering what their future expansion plans are in that. They got the new stadium coming up and many other things here. So we'll see how Northwestern. Kendall College used to be right up here, and then it moved into the city, and now it moved to National Louis. So there used to be Kendall. My friend John, he graduated from a college right next to Northwestern. And maybe he graduated from Kendall. But there used to be another college right next to Northwestern, a small college. And anyways, so you get this campus, and it's in the Big Ten, which is a major conference in, the United States for athletics, and it's prominent academics. So, this is our only Big Ten here. Then you got University of Illinois downstate. So, again, it's a very important institution. So I'm going to leave this here and finish my Sheridan Road drive. But this goes all the way up to Highland Park, and then I take it over.